Hi, my name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and I've been trading for over 16 years. And every single Friday, I give you a macro technical analysis video breaking down Bitcoin, total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, the DXY, S&P futures, NASDAQ futures, and 3 other important charts that are going to blow your mind. If I missed anything, I'm going to give it to you all right now. Let's break it down. Let's talk about it. If you were in my trading group or you watched my macro technical analysis last week for Bitcoin, I talked about the fact that they were going to print tons of money. I talked about the fact that the Bitcoin was above the daily 200 SMA and things were looking very, very bullish. The 8-hour time frame just needed to break back above the 200 SMA in order to give us a go-go sign of a massive move. Every time you break the 8-hour 200 SMA, I'll show you the last 3 times. Right there, well, we'll give you 4. Right there, beautiful pump for Bitcoin. Right there, beautiful pump on a short term. Didn't keep the catalyst continuing, but beautiful pump. Right there, beautiful pump and a huge move. Right there, beautiful pump and a huge move. Right there, a beautiful pump. And here we are again every single time. Had you just bought above this line and put a stop loss below it, you would have made gains. I want to keep this really simple for you. You still have time here to jump on in with a stop loss below that 200 and ride this to Valhalla. There is still time. It's that simple. People think it's way more complicated than it has to be. It does not have to be that complicated. It is simply that simple. Anyway, I made the call this morning in my trading group on the 4-hour time frame. I could see it was going to break out. The 2-hour had stochastics curving to the upside last night, which made me go long for my trading group and give them the position. We are now all in gains and things are just going our way. It is unbelievably awesome. All right. What I'm going to do right now, though, is just kind of show you what I see happening in the future for BTC. We're at the all-time history index. We're going to delete everything. And I mean, the one great thing about this is, my thumb slipped there. The one great thing about this is this. So the 2-hour did the beautiful breakout as suggested. We could see that that thing was likely going to moon. This was a cup with a handle. Everything was looking good. The 4-hour had broken the 200 SMA. Beautiful, beautiful sign. When I show you what's happening here, it's going to blow your mind. So the first thing we need to look at is the weekly. We broke above the weekly support or resistance at 61.5. As long as we close a weekly candle above that, we're good to go. It looks like we're likely going to do that, getting the huge move to the upside. Grayscale was selling a little bit, and so was the German government. But the ETFs still needed to buy. They needed to get in before the prices go too high. Once Grayscale stopped selling, the price started to recover. The ETFs FOMO'd and started getting back in. That creates a pump into Bitcoin, and the technical analysis already shows that. So as long as we stay above 61.5, we're good to go. We have no issues at all. This could be a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. The 5-day chart is ready to rock. You can see that the MACD is turning with a cross coming after a double bottom. You can see this crossing the yellow line, bullish. You can see this turning up, and everything just looks like it's going to go on a massive move further to the upside. This is a broadening falling wedge that does break up 68% of the time, and that gives you $103,000 Bitcoin somewhere by the end of August. We could definitely see 80K by the end of August. It's definitely on the table. We went through this beautiful consolidation. We got massive selling, $3 billion worth of selling from the German government. We withstood it all and continued to pump. If that's not bullish, I don't know what to tell you. We're continuing to the upside. Life is good here for BTC. The daily is a little high, but what I'll tell you is when the daily gets that high, and look, the shoulder, the head, or the right shoulder, all you care about now on the daily is that you don't go lower than 63.3. As long as the daily doesn't go through lower than 63.3, and as long as the daily never revisits the 200, you're good to go. Your second catalyst is the 8-hour taking the 200 out. If the 8-hour loses the 200, that's going to be your first sign of a warning that things aren't going your way and that you may get a pullback or you may be hitting resistance. But as long as the 8-hour stays above this yellow line, we are gone, baby, gone. And so I'm in a long right now. I'll reassess the situation, but on the macro scale, we are on our way to hit the all-time high. That's the next resistance here, 71,000 right there on the 8-hour, and then 73.5, and we're gone. So, you know, it's really going to be the 67. Once we break 67, I don't see how we don't propel to the all-time highs. So I'm extra bullish on Bitcoin. The only thing that would stop me is if this 8-hour decides to slump and go below that yellow line, then I would revisit, reconvene. But as long as that doesn't happen, I remain extremely, extremely bullish for Bitcoin. All right. The total market cap, same story, morning glory, golden cross in the 4-hour, pump coming, cup with the handle to the upside, looking lovely. The daily is exposed at resistance. We're going to have to see what happens here on the total market cap because we are at a little bit of resistance, but we could flip that. Same story here. The 8-hour just getting above the 200 SMA as Bitcoin has so much dominance. It's really, dominating the entire market, right? And that's something we've been seeing. We are waiting to see if this makes some type of inverted head and shoulder. We very well may get a pullback here and then, be able to get back in. That's why I'm watching the 8-hour very closely. But total, same thing, looking good. And right now, as long as these things continue and nothing changes, we're on our way for a massive breakout to $3.5 trillion. It's going to be a pretty big deal. I'm excited. You should be excited. Secondly, total 3, the market cap of all of the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you look at this on the 3-day, it has legs just getting started. I suggested that we trade this cup and handle, and the entry was there last week. Bang, bang, bang. If you were with me last week, we talked about this. I said, listen, total 3 just needs to come up, make this right shoulder, and get above the daily 200 SMA. Once we do that, we will have a massive move to the upside. It was the 13th or the 12th when we were here a week ago. We were right there. I was talking about this making a head, shoulder ahead, and then boom into the upside. I told you to watch for the break above the 200 SMA, and boom, boy, did we get that move to the upside. So lovely things that I'm seeing here for Bitcoin. I love it. I'm excited. And this is just great on total 3. As long as we stay above the 200 on the daily, we have no worries, and we will continue to the upside. I would only stress if we lose the 200 SMA on the 8-hour or the daily time frame. That would be a reason I would stress. Other than that, total 3 is looking great. Your next stop for total 3 is 681, and then to that bigger target at $700 billion. The Bitcoin dominance. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is in this flag. See this resistance. We did finally break that resistance. We talked about how Bitcoin dominance was looking frisky, acting like it's likely going to go parabolic and make a huge move for Bitcoin here. Bitcoin really, I don't think is going to give up its dominance as much as it did in the last rallies. I think altcoins will rally, and eventually there'll be a little pullback. But for the most part, Bitcoin's going to keep its dominance through majority of this run. You can see it. It's at the forefront. It's pushing. I mean, it's over $1 trillion market cap, and people still pile in to BTC. The daily, is a little high. You might go sideways or over, but, or not completely pumped. But the 3-day chart suggests that you have bottomed and you're not going to go lower than 55%. And we're on our way to the top of this channel. It looks like Bitcoin's going to go on a massive rally, and Bitcoin dominance is about to take over. So I would watch, it looks, some of the top 100 alts will pump, and the whole market seems like it's going to move together, but it's not going to be alt season just yet. But the alts are going to move with this pump for Bitcoin. It does look likely. Everything is moving. The whole market. People were putting their money into crypto. So that's Bitcoin dominance, right? That wants to pump. So if that wants to pump, we would like to see Tether dominance want to drop. However, it's weird is they're both kind of oversold on the daily, but I was using the 3-day. You can see the 3-day still wants to push down. So what we want to see is we want to see this continue, lose this level, and continue to the downside. I'm watching the 3-day chart on Tether dominance and Bitcoin dominance. We want to see Bitcoin dominance make a move up that channel, and we want to see Tether dominance drop all the way down to about 2.5%. So far, everything is great. I would only stress if Tether dominance breaks back above 581 or ever gets back above like a 200 SMA on, let's just say, the daily. But right now, it's playing with it. It could toy with it. We'd like to see that lose. We'd like to see the 3-day continue to the downside. I would watch your daily and your 3-day mainly for Tether dominance. But it looks like it's going to drop out this bear flag and continue further down, which would only propel Bitcoin further to the upside. Then we look at the DXY. The DXY is interesting. You have to remember, BRICS was selling off. There's lots of ins and outs, but there's also other countries that still adopt the US dollar. And then there's talks of the US dollar getting backed by Bitcoin. It looks like they may pump together. If the US dollar gets backed by Bitcoin, they might start pumping together, right? And then you'll see the inverted head and shoulder Bitcoin's made. This is just a little bit behind it. Interesting. They might actually start pumping together after the Bitcoin conference. After the news that comes out, it may change the dynamic with the dollar, and show me the charts and I'll show you the news. Bitcoin wants to pump. The dollar looks like it wants to pump. Bitcoin is a little high at the daily, though. Maybe we get a pullback and the dollar pumps up. We'll see it. But for the most part, this may be a time where we see them pump together, all right? So that's something that you may want to kind of think about, and that's why this macro analysis video is important. Really puts things into perspective that you may not even have thought about, okay? S&P futures. We called this flag for you before it happened. Then we called the pump. Everything was good. Then I told you These are my yellow lines from the last time we were here. I said we're likely going to pull back to the 21-day moving average and make one of these two flags. We can delete this flag now and say, okay, we made the falling wedge flag. Is it going to be a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder? You never know. Stock market is getting kind of overvalued a little bit. It might have to come back. But the way they print money on either side of the aisle, it doesn't matter. Donald Trump gets in, they're going to print money. Or Democrats get in, they're going to probably print even more money. But either side is going to print money. And until we get rid of the Federal Reserve, both sides are going to print money. No one's going to be like free of that. So if they're going to print money, it just suggests that this will eventually pump back to the upside. Only a matter of time that the S&P. However, look at the 3-day chart. The 3-day chart, does suggest that there could be some more pain here, and that's a bearish engulfing candle. So interesting enough, huh? Bitcoin pumps today and the S&P doesn't. Look for the 3-day to come back and visit the 3-day chart. Looks like we're going to get a pretty nasty pullback here on the S&P. So I would be out of my positions on the S&P. It looks like we're going to have a pullback. Eventually break on out, but it says, I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be about 2 weeks of pain here on the S&P because that's a bearish engulfing candle. You're ready to dump really hard on the 3-day, and you're away for the 21-day moving average. I would say right now that you are going to get a pullback on the S&P. The NASDAQ, same thing on the 3-day, pointing down with the bearish engulfer. You're on your way down. For whatever reason, Bitcoin's pumping and the regular markets are slumping. They're just not correlated recently. They will pump here and there together and dump here and there together, but for the most part, they aren't moving the same. I would say the NASDAQ has to do similar to what I just said for the S&P. They're basically twins. They look exactly the same. They're based on the M2 money supply and what goes in and out, the banks. So it's the same chart really at the end of the day. I'd look for more of a pullback. It says for the next week and a half, the NASDAQ and the S&P are going to be trending to the downside. Your shorts are going to be easier to trade than your longs until we get back to the bottom here of the stochastics RSI. Before I jump on here, I want to talk about Sol BTC. I told you if Bitcoin pumps, Sol will pump. And Sol will make a bigger percentage gain than Bitcoin. So this tells me that big things could go our way. I like what I'm seeing here for Sol BTC. Starting to really play off. And it broke out too. And that could continue. Look at it on your 3-day chart. It's a little extended, but it is breaking on out. And it could consolidate. But for the most part, I'm looking at the smaller channel. It did break out, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 2-3 months, if Bitcoin continues to pump, Sol BTC will continue to do so as well. Bitcoin at 66,307 at the time of this recording, doing damage. Sol Ethereum starting to break out against Ethereum too. Sol is the one, man. More people want it, more people use it. When the market rips back up, people get back into the memes, Sol starts to pump again, and then things start to get crazy. So Sol Ethereum, to me, is another good play over time. I believe Sol eventually will break out on Ethereum and break the length of this pole. Eventually, you will consolidate, but I think it's only a matter of time. The Sol beats up on Ethereum. It's just something that I see happening. Caspa Bitcoin, something I wanted to show you. If Caspa can bounce here and start to consolidate, there's a chance it can continue this beautiful uptrend it has against Bitcoin. However, it did lose the parabola, and it may be struggling a little bit when the KRC20 coins didn't come out like they were supposed to. ETH Bitcoin is another one that I want to watch. It just seems like Bitcoin's dominance is too strong. Every time I think ETH could take some market share, it seems to lose some. And we get this issue. So that's head and shoulder. That could fall to the downside. It looks like Bitcoin may do another big move, and Ethereum may not just be able to get the buy-ins. The ETF is coming, but what I'm seeing here is a loss of the 21 and kind of a head and shoulder pattern. It doesn't look as bullish as I thought Ethereum Bitcoin was, but it is consolidating above a previous high. All right. And that, my friends, is your weekly macro analysis for Bitcoin. Total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, the DXY, S&P futures, NASDAQ, Sol BTC, Caspa BTC, and Ethereum BTC as well. I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay blessed, stay amazing, stay positive. And remember, you can, you will, you are the best. Crypto is life.